and love. Welcome to a new episode. Today we are going to talk about a very important, very interesting topic, and it is something that I am also quite passionate about, and that is empathetic communication. Knowing how to communicate effectively to be able to deal with all people, with our friends, with our family. Lately I have been reading the book The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and Habit 6 talks about seeking first to understand and then to be understood. I find it very interesting to share this information because communication is a fundamental part of our life. That is, we need communication to coexist in this world with people. It happens very often that we have conflicts with other people simply because we don't know how to communicate, so I think that this information that I share in this episode is going to be super useful if you want to be effective in communicating with others and build powerful relationships, whether with your friends, with your family, with your boyfriend, with whoever. Why is this happening? Why are there so many disagreements? Why is communicating with each other so complicated? First, we must understand that in all of us there is a paradigm, and the paradigm is the filter with which we see life, and this paradigm is based on beliefs, experiences, thoughts, ideas, etc. That is, there are many things that make up a paradigm, and that paradigm will define how you see and interpret the life that happens around you, and there are also many other variables that make each person interpret life in a different way, for example their psychology, their genetics, and things like that. For example, it is said that there are many differences between us. For example, there are people who function from a more rational side of the left hemisphere, and there are other people who function from the more creative, emotional, intuitive side, and that is the right hemisphere of our brain. That is, we are all different, we are completely different. So for that reason we cannot agree on absolutely everything, or we do not all think in the same way. So the first step to have effective communication with another person is to first understand that the person you are talking to is totally different from you. Maybe they have many things in common, but they have a totally different paradigm, and I don't know if you remember that moment when that photo of the blue dress was in fashion, or that it was blue or a gold dress with white, something like that. There were people who swore they saw a blue dress with black stripes and others saw a white dress with gold. It seems that it was. And people, I remember that they grabbed to argue and say, but since you don't realize if the dress is blue it's not that you're crazy, and the dress is white as you're going to see it blue you're crazy, there's something wrong with you. That is, people got upset to argue like that because everyone was seeing something different, and that is the best example that not all of us see and interpret life in the same way for different things. It turns out that the one dressed in blue is actually the one dressed in blue, and I am wearing blue. It is not important to accept each person independently and say this person is like that and maybe he interprets life in a totally different way, and I accept him and I am open to listening to him and understanding him, and that is where empathy comes in, because it happens a lot that since we all have this filter with which we see life, we think that that is the truth, we think that that is reality and that we are right. So when someone comes and shares their paradigm with you, you are going to feel that that person is totally wrong, but they may not be wrong, it is simply how they are seeing reality. I feel that in each point of view of different people there is a percentage of truth. If you look at it from their own perspective you can understand it and you can realize that it may be true, obviously depending on what we are talking about, but there is a truth in almost everything. Think how many times a person tried to convince you to use their own paradigm as your truth. For example, when you tell them something to your parents, maybe you have a problem, you are at school, you don't like school, and you are going to go to your dad today. Dad, is that I feel unhappy at school, they make me sad, I don't like being there, I want to skip school, I think it is not necessary to be at school, and you start transmitting to him you're feeling how you feel. And it happens a lot, and very often what parents do is tell you the same thing happened to me when I was your age, exactly the same thing happens to me, it's going to happen to you. It's pure nonsense, and no, and you can't think like that because school is super important for your life and you have to get good grades, and don't come at me with those things because school like that, that's the moment that could have been an opportunity to open up and have more trust between the two of you. That person went and put his paradigm, your own experience, without giving yourself a psychological space to express your feelings or your ideas. Then what is going to happen? You are not going to tell him or her anymore what is happening to you. You were not listened to. You did not feel taken seriously. So it happens many times that we perhaps look for someone to guide us or to make us feel good, or for them to simply listen to us. Maybe we are totally wrong and we are completely irrational. Sometimes we simply need a space to share what we feel and hear ourselves out loud, what we are feeling. In the end, neither of us understands what happened. Your dad is going to tell you, "Oh, that's it. That boy or girl you never want to listen to advice is led to their idea," and you on the other hand are going to say, "They never listen to me, they don't understand me, no one understands me," and it will make you feel more distrustful and alone because with the person who knows the most if you have more confidence you don't feel that security of expressing what happens inside you, and in the end if you try several times you end up transforming that instance to be honest about your feelings as a negative situation and that you can't trust others because no one listens to you or that no one is going to understand you or give yourself that space to be yourself or say what you feel. Simply, if you were an oculist, you go to this consultation with this doctor and the doctor looks at you and tells you to use my glasses because these glasses make me see very well and I see perfectly, so you put them on and he tells you that you see worse than what you saw before and you tell the doctor, "Hey, he knows that I see badly with his glasses, they don't work for me," and he is going to tell you, "No, but if they work for me, I see well with them, use them. If I have seen well all my life with them, they will also serve you," and you say, "No, I don't see well, I need him to write me a prescription that is for me," and the doctor insists. He tells you, "Well, if you are here distrusting my ability as a doctor it would be better," and you leave frustrated because he didn't give you any solution and he just went and gave you his glasses that obviously are not going to work for you, and what is going to happen? You will never go to that last thing again because the doctor did not know how to attend to your needs or give you an adequate analysis for your person in your eyes. Is the same with communication, and maybe we do the same. Sometimes we have the best intentions and we want to give you advice immediately, and this also goes a long way with men. I have already talked about this with several of my friends, and it happens a lot that men have a way of solving problems, and if you are a man and you have a female friend or a girlfriend whatever, sometimes she can go with you and tell you, "There is that I feel like this," or "There is this that happened to me," and she starts telling you all her problems. Do not try to give her a solution because many times the majority of people do not want a solution, they simply want to be listened to, they just want to vent, and if they wanted a solution or wanted advice, that person would go and tell you, "Hey, something is happening to me, I want you to give me advice, I need advice, help me." None of them do it with a bad intention, quite the opposite. You want to help your friend or your girlfriend, or whoever you want to help. Now we are going to see how we can communicate with anyone effectively, and I am also going to tell them why this is so important even though others do not do this to you. This book talks about seek first to understand and then to be understood first, that everything you have to listen openly without judging and wait for the other person to finish speaking. We all want to be understood and listened to unfairly, so here comes listening in an empathetic way, authentically paying attention to the person, listening to them and putting yourself in their shoes. That is extremely important. The only way you can is to understand another person's paradigm by exposing yourself in their place and trying to see life as they are seeing it. For example, if someone is saying that he feels bad and that he has a problem about something that happened to him, and for you it is absurd because perhaps in the past you have already been through a similar situation and you already have the knowledge that it is not worth it, for example, to get angry about something like that. So instead of not valuing that person's feeling, better put yourself in their place, listen, understand them and empathize with what they are telling you. That is the best thing you can give to a person, someone who listens to you. And one of the things that I have learned already in psychologists and in people who are experts in communication, it is important that when a person is speaking, you give them that moment to express themselves freely and not interrupt them, because it happens a lot that we want to talk or that we want to get in the middle of the conversation giving opinions on things. Obviously, I think that this is fundamental in a conversation, but if someone is telling you their opinion or something that is important to the other person, it is good to give them that space to express themselves freely. It happens a lot that a person is talking and then they are going to shut up, but if you wait 3 seconds, the most likely thing is that the person will add something to the conversation again, something that was missing, and that will be that more and more as you give them that space and that time to express an idea in more depth, you will realize that that person is going to start transmitting much deeper and more personal things to you, things that if you see it interrupted you will never see yourself shared. So I think that is also where I see it in seeing our friends, for example, or a partner, or people who are important to you. If you really want to get to know them and want to help them and be a positive influence in their life, give them that space to express themselves, then don't say anything, stay silent, and if they finish talking, count to 3, and if up to 3 they haven't added anything, then it's your time to start talking. And okay, It can happen that people talk and talk and talk because they are afraid of silence and want to fill that void. But I think that there too one has to identify if the other person is simply filling the gap or is really reaching an important point in the conversation, so that gives that person time to listen to him or her, empathize, know, judge and be open-minded to what they are sharing with you, and once the person finishes what they are telling you, here is not the time to go and give them your opinion or tell them your experience. It is very important that you show the other person that you were listening and value their feelings or their words, what they shared with you, because it happens a lot that one can be talking, and sharing many important things about oneself and the other person goes and tells you, and it happened to me too, and everything you said seems like it disappeared. It has happened to you. Yes, then you feel you will have heard me, you will have understood what I said, you stay there as if with doubt. Then it is very important that when the other person finishes speaking you say some comment regarding what he said, validating his opinion, validating something important that he said. For example, someone is telling you something and you can say, look, I understand you, it is completely valid that you feel that way, or repeat what he said, that thing that you said about I don't know blah blah. Blah blah, I think it's very interesting, or that something that you said I think so much, and there you can add maybe you, but repeating something that that person said and then adding your own comments will make that person feel heard and will also be more willing to listen to you later, because that person will feel that you listened to them, that you gave them that psychological space to get to know themselves, to let go and delve deeper into their emotions and their thoughts. After you recognized what he or she said will make them feel heard, they feel understood, and when it is your turn to speak, that person will feel very willing to listen to you. When someone really gives us that space to do us, to speak, to express our emotions, and moreover, apart from having been listened to, they empathized with us, they gave us feedback based on what we were talking about, we feel listened to, we feel valued, we want to do the same for the other person, because humans are like that. We are generous. When someone is generous with us, we want to return the favor, so to speak. And okay, there may be people who don't do the same, that can happen, but how you talk about this book, this is a habit of highly effective people. It is super important that we are humble and really authentically want to understand the other person, because that will mean that we build a much more powerful relationship with anyone, and it doesn't matter who it is, even with those people that you don't talk to or don't know at all, and you haven't had, I don't know, a deep conversation or something with those people. Maybe just say hello, greet and take someone into account, because you don't know who that person is. All the people, all the contacts, in the end they are important, because at some point you don't know if they need their help. And maybe this sounds super interested, but if you think about it, this is the reality. We live in a world where we all collaborate with each other. We coexist in a society where we need other people. We need someone to teach us, someone that we can hire for services to fix something. We need the knowledge, the skills of other people. So I think this habit of being effective in communication, or simply being kind to another human being without believing in anything, without believing that you are better than the person, is very important, and taking into account to each one, because you don't know who you are talking to or who is in front of you. I think it is important to be humble and appreciate any person just because, and I am not saying that you have to do it in an interesting way. How am I going to say hello and I am going to be nice to this person, or I am going to listen to him because in the future he may help me in something? The world to listen and see the other person, to see them, is super important. Human relationships, it is super important to learn to communicate, and other people may not do the same for us. Do not wait for them to do it. Generate it as a habit with everyone without expecting any change, and believe me, it will surprise you, because at some point when you need something they help you with advice, or simply that they listen to you like you were like that, and you created this trust with another person. Then that person will shake your hand, because they will feel that you deserve their help, you deserve advice, or you deserve that space to be heard or understood. All change begins with us, so let's start changing, and by changing ourselves, others will also start to change, because they will realize that there is something different in you when they talk to you, and they will want to do the same for you. And you can share this, and you can teach it to your friends or the people you love in the best way possible, because I think it is super important to learn to value each human being as an independent being, and I never tire of saying this because it is super important. I really do. Sometimes I simply distance myself from people because they don't know how to appreciate me as a different and independent person. There are people who try to change you, or who try to convey to you everything that they are. In other words, they try to put their glasses on you so that you can see the world, and that may not work for you, because we are all different. We all had different experiences since we were born. I am applying it more and more when with another person. I think that sometimes we can make mistakes, we can suddenly interrupt, or perhaps out of emotion we do not value or listen to what the other person said, but you always have that opportunity to be aware and remember this, and if you do not pay attention to the other person, they can bring back something that they said, and like what? You said this so much, and you give your opinion and the other person will say, he heard me. We all like to be valued and appreciated in that way, like that. Please question this. Think about it, and I hope that you integrate this habit of first understanding and then being understood what empathetic communication is. So I hope that this episode has been useful to you, that you liked it and that you use it in your daily life and that it benefits you and makes your life more effective. In the end, that is what the book is about. I 100% recommend that you read the book. It is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it is a book that is for people who want to fulfill their dreams and who want to be leaders, people who want to be highly effective in their life, achieve their goals, their objectives, and relate to the world in the best possible way. It is quite good. It has many psychological analyses. If you like business, it can also be very useful to you. If you liked this episode, one recommend that you go listen to the next one. If you want to give me your opinion of this episode, you can tell the Instagram of the podcast called Free Speech. You can follow me on my other social networks. I will leave the information below in the description so that you know. I hope it goes extremely well for you. I wish you the best. Bye bye.